Welcome back to the Mental Lab. In today's training, we are going to talk about how to shift from business mode to home mode. This is a topic that I think a lot of people have asked me to create a training on, and why it's important that we have to be intentional about the shifts that we make if we want to have more balance in our life as a business owner. So let's dive right into the training, and I want you to think of it as the perspective of transitions. How can we create transitions that set us up to win, not just in business, but also in each area of our life? I think every business owner or high performer can understand the frustration of wanting to be present at home at the end of a workday, but their mind being elsewhere. And it can be frustrating because you're missing out on important moments, being a father, being a husband, of enjoying some life that's separate from your business. And most of the time, it's more of a mindset, mental issue than it is an actual strategy issue. But we're going to blend it all together today for you. The first thing I want you to think of is balance is a myth. And what I mean by finding balance is a myth is, unless you're at a certain phase of your business or your career where you only have to work a certain amount of hours, then maybe you can create that balance. But seeing balance as something that's equilibrium, it's not always possible for most people who are business owners. So I want you to think of, instead of finding balance, it's finding balance in mentality and emotionality. And that is going to be the key to helping you be at more peace and be more present in your life. Integration over balance. What I mean by integration is integrating both work and your home life together and having intentional transitions that enable that. Why is it hard? Why is it hard for us to be able to switch off? Well, just think of all of the things you have to get done in your life or in your business on a daily basis. The list is endless. And even when you get through the things you need to get done, there's more things waiting for you that you probably could also attack. So it makes it very difficult to close loops. It's a lot of open loops, which creates chaos in our minds and our actual brain. We have lack of intention. And what I mean by lack of intention is we're not thinking about the transition. We're not actually creating the environment that enables it, and we don't have an actual routine that enables it. And we often have just one-dimensional goals. And that's why the first thing I do with all of my clients is get them to create a life vision, because that is what is going to anchor everything else inside of what we actually do. So let's head back over and look at intentional transitions. So I want you to think about creating a ritual, creating a habit or a process that allows you to transition from one role to the next. So let's just think about morning, getting into business mode, or whatever time you start your day. Think about end of work day, and then think about transitioning to the home, reintegration back into your day. So I want you to anchor it with a clear transition. So for example, let's just think of the office, right? At the end of your office day, you say it's 5 o'clock, you want to go home, closing your laptop, that physical cue to your brain that the day is over. And you can actually say to yourself, my work is done. So you're now speaking it to your brain, creating an expectation. You're now closing the laptop, having a physical cue that this day is over. And then I want you to push the laptop away from you, creating actual distance to the laptop for your brain. It's a cue. And one thing you can do then is remove a piece of clothing. So say, for example, you have a work shirt, you take off your work shirt, you put on your home shirt, and that signals that it's time to step into dad mode, husband mode, home mode. So you have that end of day work ritual, create the physical distance, cue to the brain, speak it like we just said. So for me, again, something that's been useful is having clothing that I take off or put on, or maybe you have a certain watch that you wear when you're working, that you're not working, or you have a watch that you wear once you come home. It's just a physical anchor to your brain that I'm now switching mode. Think of it, for example, for me, when I go to the gym, I put on my gym clothes, it automatically gets me into a certain vibration. I feel better about myself. Or you put on your running shoes, it creates a certain association that something is about to happen. And that is what we're doing here as well. Anchor it. So remove an item or object, like we spoke about. Do a body scan. So at the end of your workday, check in with yourself. Where do I feel tension right now? Where am I still carrying stress or tension in my body? What's the body experiencing? What's the threat that it's experiencing in that moment? Is it that it's got work undone? Is it that it doesn't want to end the day, and because it thinks that going home is procrastinating or it's not productive, like step into it and then breathe into it. Notice how you're breathing, notice what you're feeling, and allow yourself to let go of it and visualize what it is you actually want. So I want to go home. I want to be present with my family. I want to go home, give my son a hug, give my daughter a hug, whatever that is, greet my wife, have dinner as a family, and not be thinking about work. Visualize yourself doing that, create the expectation. New mode. Now we want you to use a physical anchor, right? Use an actual physical anchor, like we said, changing something. An environmental cue can be super useful. So for example, before I leave the office, as I'm closing the door, I do a sigh, something like that, right? Or I'm stepping into my home, taking a mindful breath before I enter, just allows that to create that environmental cue. It's why it's so important to have a life vision. And like I said, creating a vision over just having goals is something that is not one-dimensional and encompasses all areas of your life. And it's much easier for your brain to associate this as being something that is important. Everyone wants to be more present at home. Nobody wants to be distracted. And if, for example, you have to work in a different location, or say, for example, you have to work at home or you still have to do things in the evening, create a certain time to do it and create a certain space to do it. So have a room that you use for work. The rest of the home is for play, fun, etc. Just like you wouldn't bring work into your bedroom. Create those cues, people, places, set yourself up to win. The internal environment is important, but so is the external environment that enables that, right? Limit distractions, don't have work stuff lying around on the table, set yourself up to win. So what I want you to do to integrate this is to create your start of work ritual. So what is it that would cue to you that it's time to get into business mode? It might be putting on your work shirt, might be putting on that watch, might be putting on your tie, whatever that is for you. What is your end of work and reintegration into home life ritual? Closing the laptop, taking off the work shirt, right? Breathing before I go through the door at home. Practice it with grace. Why? Because you're going to fail. You're going to get distracted. You're going to go back into work mode, and that is okay. You're not perfect, right? This is something that we're going to have to go through the 4 stages of learning to actually master. We're going to have to go from a conscious process to an unconscious process and back to conscious as we continue to practice it. So reinforce it. As you progress it, start off simple and then try to add new things that make you really anchor it in, right? So how do I want to feel when I'm at home? Like tap into that. Why is it important? What am I grateful for about this moment? How can I experience this moment just 5% more? How can I be a little bit more present in this moment? How can I give my wife and son the full attention? Shifting your focus, ask yourself better questions. Breaking your normal patterns is what it's all about. So that is it for today's training. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been helpful for you. Share this with someone who may need to experience it. If they're a business owner, a founder, or a high-performing leader who may struggle to find balance in their life, then this would be perfect for them. So that is it. Until next time, be well, and as always, ascend higher.